All right. Good evening. My name is Mary Maslowski. I'm the chair of the Harwich Historic District and Historic Commission. We are calling to order the meeting for Wednesday, January 17th, 2024 at 6 p.m. Meeting is being held at Town Hall at 732 Main Street in the small hearing room. I'd like to start with advising anyone, if anyone in the room is choosing to record video or audio record the meeting, to let the chair know. Seeing none, we'll start with a roll call.
Bob Doan.
Brendan Lowney.
Paul Doan.
Lynn Zalasak. Julia Eldridge.
All right, great. So the first matter on our agenda is HH 2023-25. It is the Town of Harwich owner through their agent Lubbock Spec, who's applied for a certificate of non-applicability to replace the roof on the structure located at the Harwich Center Historic District. The subject property is 735 Main Street, map 41, parcel E1. It's continued from our last meeting. And if I read my packet correctly, it appears that the town is looking to withdraw their original request and will resubmit as a certificate of appropriateness. Did everybody get the same sense that I did?
Yes.
Okay, then the chair would entertain a motion to allow for the withdrawal without prejudice for HH 2023-25.
I move.
Second.
All right, so Bob has made the motion, Lynn has seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Any in opposition? Hearing none, motion carries 6-0. Next item on our agenda is HH 2024-01, Andrew Healy. The owner has filed a notice of intent. The project proposes the partial demolition to add a porch. The structure is over 100 years old according to the town assessing records and is located at 209 Bank Street, map 32, parcel R7.
I'm going to recuse myself.
All right, thanks, Julie.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Do I have to sign?
Please.
Go ahead, Andy.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you doing tonight?
Good, thank you.
My name is Andy Healy. I'm the owner, and Tom Moore is the person that does the design work for me. So I asked Tom to come and visit and maybe and present if he had any questions. He's very familiar with the nature of how Harwich works and historic and all that, so we want to work with you.
Perfect. Why don't you walk through the application for us?
So Andy's doing some renovations to this house, kind of bringing it back to life. And one of the requests here for tonight is for a porch on the side of the house. It's got a farmer's porch, I think 8 by 20-ish, 30-ish, with a hip style roof. I don't know if you had any drawings or plans or anything.
You're okay?
Yeah, so, this is, what we're looking to approve here, so we're looking for any comments or questions that you might have.
All right, who'd like to start?
As described, one question on the A1 on the front. You're not making that modification with the overhang on the front door. Is that part of this or no?
That's gone.
That's good.
That's gone. That was
That was the existing.
actually what that was not part of the original house. That was a plywood fixture
Okay.
that was on there, so.
I don't have any questions.
Bob?
I just wanted, for clarification, what you call the front elevation is actually the south-facing side of the house, is that
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the right side then would be the west side, east side.
East side, correct.
Just want to clarify that. I don't have any other comments on that.
Paul?
A couple. Is it your intention that this front door now becomes sort of the front of the house where people will enter and leave?
Correct.
The only other entrance to the property presently is the door off the patio?
Correct. That was always the front entrance to the door. That house, that door was always there, yeah.
And the other entrance you have is to the, off the patio?
Correct.
Is there any issue about the same room being the points of points of egress?
No, that's the way it was before. There was a door there before, but it was on the other side. And fire department didn't have any problem with it. I think it's the distance, and we're within the distance.
There's reference in here to the elevation of the porch will meet the existing patio to comply with
That's
the
right.
ADA Act.
True.
Is that?
That's true.
The state, town?
It's not, it's convenience,
Convenience,
basically,
okay.
yeah. It's,
Well, it
and,
looks like in your plan here, they don't meet.
yeah, they will meet. I know
Are
they.
you gonna change that?
No, I'm not changing anything, because the elevation on that side is much lower,
Right,
and we build up the porch
right.
to meet that. And that's what I want to make sure that we have that there.
But it looks like the two don't join at this point, the patio and the porch. Is that your understanding, or is the patio going to be at the same elevation as the?
The patio is going to be the same elevation as the porch, exactly. That's in line with the top step, the existing steps that are there, I believe.
That's on the back
In
side,
the back, yeah.
on the back.
If you look at the map that is, the chart or whatever, the graph design, it shows here, it shows the space, right? Is this, you familiar with this?
Anyway,
It shows a space between the
yeah,
two.
that's, what that is showing is just a drawing, I guess, Tom. But, you know,
Okay.
that's just the
Yep.
width of the porch itself. You know, that's a 29-foot wide porch, and that's what this is indicating here. But that deck, we'll join the deck at that point.
We may, what do you, I'm just trying to figure out, when you said that they adjoin here to meet existing
That's
patio.
right, my goal is that we have somebody on a wheelchair, that's maybe
Right,
an
okay.
elderly person or whatever.
So-
you wanna do.
So
They will
at this
use the
point,
ground
does that not show a gap between
Yeah,
the two?
this plan does, but that's not gonna, we're gonna bring this patio right into this.
Okay.
Okay, and it will be the same grade, that's my goal, that we can, don't have anybody trying to get up the step.
Okay, and my other question is, relative to the porch itself. This is sort of an addition to what was originally there, right? It was just a step before.
It's true.
No porch. And so is the current porch going to be, when people are coming to visit you, will they come in the porch door, I would assume? So they're going to park out in front and walk, is that going to be grass, or is that?
Well, there'll be a driveway there, you know,
Driveway in
and
front.
there'll also be an entrance on that south side.
The driveway on the west side of the house, I understand, but we're talking about the south side.
Yeah, and we have a driveway in the front also, on the west side,
West
right?
side.
Yeah, we have a
The
driveway on the
street
west.
side. But is there a drive on the south side?
No, there's gonna be a
Expect-
walkway up there,
Walkway.
yeah, a stone walkway. is
So
going
so people will come up the walkway and
Correct.
into the porch and into the house?
Correct.
And then finally, is this a screen or no screens on the
No,
porch?
I don't have any screen planned at all
Okay.
there.
And I haven't checked, but how are we doing with that window? The window's okay. And the other question I have is about the bricks on the foundation. Now, you're putting that porch in, so that's covering what is currently the south-facing foundation. It's still your intention to put a brick foundation on there of some sort, right? Veneer
Well,
brick or regular brick?
No, I'm going to put some, as you suggested the last time, the veneer brick is going all around where we have to put it around the house. That's what you.
All
So-
around.
Right.
So it'll be
So,
there
Paul,
where the patio.
this is a separate application.
Yeah, it's separate.
Yeah.
We've
But
we've
I-
already dealt with the foundation and all of that. This is a separate application just for
No,
the
I
porch.
understand,
You just want to
but
make sure it's
I
gonna
want to
run.
I
make
think-
sure it's in there, because it's not in there.
I understand what
Right.
you're,
And
But it's covered by the other application.
I understand, but now we've got a porch that wasn't on the original application. So the porch that's coming on here is in some way blocking or covering the south side foundation. And I just wanted to ensure, from your verbal assurance, that the plan to put bricks on the foundation,
of,
which were there, but bricks
on the house,
on the house.
but it'll be covered up when we put it on. Is that all right?
So answer my question, is the bricks going on the front, the south side of the house, or are they being eliminated because of the existence of the porch?
I can put them on there, but they won't be visible when the porch goes on.
What was your answer?
He can put them on, but they'll be covered up by the porch.
Well, in part, they'll be covered up
In
by
part,
the porch,
yeah.
but they're gonna be seen. I mean, it's conceivable that
The-
people would see some sections of it,
They'll-
whether
yeah.
they're on the porch or.
It's only
Off
one
the
step in, correct? 1 or 2 steps in.
From the Bank Street side, it's in 4 feet.
4 feet.
Because of the
So you-
setback. And on the back side, it's only stepped in a foot.
Right.
But,
So there'll be a little bit of brick showing.
There will be some brick, but not.
right, but I'd like your assurance that the bricks are going on the front side before the porch goes on, that's all. So
Well-
that the bricks are there, and conceivably, from some direction, you can see only bricks.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be sort of like, well, now we put the porch on, and so let's fill in a few visible gaps between, so you only see a few
Well,
bricks.
Paul, if the weather cooperates, we will definitely
Yeah,
do
no,
the
I
brick in
understand.
front, but if it doesn't, we can do the footings on the other side. But I will, as I stated the last meeting here, I will be putting the veneer bricks around at the house. I did not forget, that's, yeah.
Thanks. No further questions.
Lynn?
Okay, as you can very well see, we are very concerned because it is an old house as to how it looks. And I noticed on the application that you had it down as 1900, but we had it on our list as 1880, which caused me to wonder and say, okay, how old exactly is this house? So on my own, I decided to look at some of the old maps, and it is on both the 1880 and the 1858 map. So it does go way back. It was originally purchased in 1822, the land area was. So you are dealing with an old, lovely house. And we just want to make sure that it maintains that character, which you have agreed.
I will. Can I say something? I wish I could find the dates on that. I looked for those dates. Because I was doing the septic system, I looked for the dates, then I
Well,
couldn't find it.
All I did was Google the town maps and look at the location, and you can see it right there, Zeba Hunt. And in the Barnstable County records, you can see where he purchased all of that land. And the original deeds are there as well that you can read. It really is a fascinating read, you should go.
Yeah, I will. You know, I think, Tom, the house itself, you know, it's an old house. And I like old houses. That's why I took this crazy project on, as I said. And I want to maintain it, and it'll be in my family. I'm not selling that house. But to enhance the house, my request is that you let me go ahead and put this porch on, and we'll make it part of all, like the other porches that are on Bank Street. And, you know, and I want to do it, and Tom, you can talk about that.
Yeah, I think, because I think it does fit in certainly with the style of the house, the number, the types of houses that are on Bank Street. Again, I think this is, Andy's trying to bring this house back to life,
Anyway.
so.
I can see that.
Okay.
Paul, I invite you to drop in any time if I'm there, please, to discuss any issues you have.
It's all Mary.
I could do it off
Do you have an
the-
old packet? Bob, did you have any other questions?
No.
All right, bear with me one moment. I'm just trying to get up a decision form.
I was gonna say I could pull up an old one and I can have all their, if I pull up
I couldn't
last
Yeah,
resist. I had
week's.
to look
if
it
you
up.
could, that'd be great.
Well, that won't be in the packet
And
though.
if you,
That's a-
if you
It wouldn't
do
be in the
decide to
packet
look
online.
for, or take over any more of
She
the old
doesn't put 'em
houses, bring
Yeah,
back
I
to
don't think
life.
so. It wouldn't be
Okay,
joints. Because I would have all the map, all the information.
so what I need to do is,
Google
Before I can
Maps
run to my truck.
of the
I have
town,
last
they're
week's
all
packet.
on the internet. You can pull them up and
So
large.
we're
You think
back
you
to
do?
1822?
would you mind running?
The camp was purchased in 1822 by Zeba Hunt. And it was passed down, parcels of it were sold off, but the house is there. You can see the house on both those maps.
It was much larger then, wasn't it? It's double the size, maybe, wasn't it?
So while we're just gonna hold up for 30 seconds so that Brendan can run out. We don't have one of our decision forms in our packet this evening, so he's just gonna go grab an old one. Did you folks have a question or a comment for this?
To support.
Okay, so just
Our
wait,
house,
just wait one moment until Brendan comes back, and then I'll call on you, okay?
Okay.
Perfect.
Was that on, I mean, just something I was here last time. Was that on Washington County, the Washington County website you found that? Or was that on the town of Harwich website?
The deeds are on the Barnstable County side,
That's where, I do need to look, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
So I'll look further, yeah.
and you
Thank
can go in, and the gentleman's name was Ziba, Z-I-B-A Hunt.
Okay,
So you can put that name in on the name search,
okay,
and it'll pull up, and he did a lot of land sales,
okay.
but the original deeds are there. And as for the maps, all I did was literally Google Harwich 1880 map, Harwich 1858 map, and they show. I mean, you can pull them up from
Okay,
various sites.
thank you, that helps, yeah.
And the library has them as well.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Thank you.
But, you know, it's always nice to,
Right, yeah, I agree. Thank you.
So, sir, if you could come up forward so that we can capture you on a microphone. If you can state your name and address for the record.
Christopher Christou at 3 Gorham Road in Harwichport. My backyard adjoins the 209 property. Our side yard adjoins Mr. Healy's property at 215. We're here to support because we saw the house deteriorate. We think he's bringing it back to life. I'm intrigued by your comments because we believe our house is part of the original parcel. And when we bought it, it was registered as 1870 or 1875 or something like that because of town hall burning and stuff like that. I was fascinated by your comment because when we had work done, they said our house actually goes back to like 1840, 1850. And I'm curious now we had no proof because there were no records of that, but that sounds, I'd like to investigate and see exactly how old our house is.
I know your house too. I actually grew up on Levitt Lane,
Okay.
so, and your house is another
But
one.
we're here to support
They've
because
expanded.
it was an eyesore from our house and was here to support what he's doing.
Thank you for coming out tonight. We appreciate it. So,
You need a motion to close the public hearing?
I'm just gonna hold off for 30 seconds just so that I can fill in some of the blanks.
One question about deck material. What was your selection there for the deck material?
Well, we're gonna use the, what do you call it? Yeah.
Deck.
Not this, it is, not Isaac, the other stuff. The,
Mahogany?
No, Trex, is it Trex?
Trex,
Trex.
So
Yeah.
Trex
So
or
we're gonna use
Trex.
Trex for the thing, yeah, long lasting. And treat it all underneath, you know,
Yeah, pressure treated.
pressure treated all underneath.
You're gonna pick a mahogany type looking, the exact, you have different colors, be more of like a,
Yeah, you know, if you have a choice on that, by all means, please, I'm not gonna go beyond anything that's contemporary. I'm not that kind of a person. But
understand.
Tom can suggest that to me and keep within your standards.
There's a couple of products, as you know, that.
Yeah, with a couple different colors, but it would be probably a mahogany or a grayish cedar looking, or,
So there, I think I hit those two little things. So then, if anybody has any other questions, if no other questions, I'd entertain a motion to close the public
So
hearing.
moved.
So Bob's made a motion to close the public hearing. Is there a second?
Madam Chairman, one question,
Sure.
kind of like Columbo. Just to pick up on Brendan's point here, there is space shown because of the elevation drop there. There is space shown about you'll see both the floor of the porch and I guess the space underneath. There aren't steps across the entire porch, right? There's steps just at the door of the porch. So in the area of the porch where the stairs aren't, what happens there? You've got posts in the ground?
They're all the footings, and we're bringing it right up. The footings are just there, and we bring up, you can explain to me.
so I think what he's talking about, Andy, is
You're gonna do a lattice.
in this space here.
Oh, underneath, oh, sorry, underneath, yeah.
Yeah, so whether there's some lattice work.
Lattice work or something we put there, sorry. I misunderstood what you're saying. Some lattice work or something you have anything you'd like to put there?
You're talking about closing off the space
Underneath.
below the deck and the grade.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's what we're saying,
Yeah.
is some lattice, either some lattice type of work, or whether there's some
Because it
vertical.
would be rather pronounced visibly. You're gonna see that area, right? As you come to the house, as you drive by the house, you'll see the area under the porch.
Underneath, right. Yeah.
So, but from grade, Tom, you're going really from 6 inches from right to left as you go west. You're only gonna have less than 12 inches.
There's gonna be less than
Then
12
you're
inches.
projecting 8 feet out, so you'd have to be on your hands and knees really to see underneath that.
But you're going to see the space. I'm just trying to
Yeah.
figure out whether it's going to be whether you're blocking it off to keep animals from going in there, or whether you're leaving that open. Because I mean, it's going to be a very pronounced, visibly pronounced portion of the porch.
Mhm.
What is under the step or under the grade of the porch itself?
See, the ledger board's gonna be right on there. You're
Yeah.
you'd be lucky to see 12 inches when they're done. You wouldn't be able to see that. As long as they make the corner and go 8 feet in with the brick, you wouldn't see anything.
Yeah, so he's talking.
Anyways, to that point,
And
it's
you're
not
up
what you
in
think.
this
It's
area,
gonna be
yeah.
this much to see underneath. It's only
So if
one
you-
step up and you're on the
Some
deck.
lattice work
I know,
or
but
something
Yeah,
like
lattice
that.
work, and you're out 8 feet, so.
I'd look to do.
Well,
Yeah.
that'd be up to them to.
Do
I know, but if they were
Yeah.
gonna say, well, we don't want
Horizontal
animals
or
under
That's,
there,
vertical
that's
then
probably,
something
I'll let
to
Mary speak, that's
close
probably
that
not in our
up.
purview, but yeah.
Right, but, you know, he's here with an application. I don't think we're not, I think the question is more, do you intend to close it off? And if you intend to close it off, what do you intend to do that with?
I think
And if
we-
you don't, and it's open, I mean,
It's not a
I mean, some people,
Well, that's what I'm
some
trying to
people
find
put
out.
shrubs in front and wouldn't think to put the lattice
Well,
there, so.
We don't want animals living under the porch, and we will be putting something there, and as Tom suggested, some kind of lattice, or do you have another suggestion, Tom?
Yeah, it'd be either a lattice work, which could be, not an angled one, but, square.
Great.
and/or, the other option would be just closing it off with some vertical boards, like a tongue and groove, but I think the lattice work would be the way to go, so.
Okay, before we close the public hearing, any last questions? Okay, then, Bob, are you renewing your motion to close the public hearing?
Yes.
So Bob has made a motion to close the public hearing. Do we have a second?
Second.
Lynn has seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any in opposition? Hearing none, 6-0 on closing the public hearing. So now, Brendan, would you like to entertain a motion?
Yes, before we do that, do we have a filing date?
I don't know the filing date.
Okay,
We
so
can,
then,
we
to
can,
determine?
yep.
Okay, motion to approve HH 2024-1, filing date to be determined, hearing
I might
date
have it.
January 17, 2024, map and parcel, 209 Bank Street, 32 R7. Andrew Haley is the owner, applicant is Andrew Haley. BK 34562, page 249. Year built 1900. Brief description of the work is to install a porch on the south side.
It's okay, we'll be fine. We think
With a
maybe
hearing, with a filing date of
December 23rd,
December 23rd,
approximately.
approximately. Let's go back to a brief description of work. Install a porch on south side. Plans dated 10/4/23. The building historical significance is listed on the town historic property inventory. The proposed demolition would not destroy or substantially diminish the historic value. No demo delay period imposed. Conditions would be adding horizontal vertical lattice if desired.
Anything else?
That's it.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
So Brendan's made a motion. Bob has seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any in opposition? Hearing none, motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I will tell you that we'll do you right, and the house will look good when I'm
Steal
finished.
that from you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I'm just gonna put notes
Sorry,
on
you can
it.
have that.
No, I just need to put notes on it.
Yeah, you can keep that. I don't need that.
Just have a quick question. You said to go into, what's the word?
Barnstable County Registry of Deeds.
Okay,
Do a free search in there.
because we don't know exactly.
So what if I-
what this is, that's all.
Thank you.
Thank you, good night. Julie, you can come back in. So leave that for Rachel. Next item on our agenda is meeting minutes from December 20th, 2023. Do we have a motion to approve and place on file?
Motion to approve minutes from 12/20/23 with a small change of clarifying which Doan was here.
Ah,
So that would be Paul from last week, so I'll reference to that would be Paul Doan. And hopefully moving forward, we can have their first names added.
For my edification, Madam Chairman, how are the minutes done? Somebody listens to the transcript?
yes. They watch the meeting. They watch the meeting and they watch the, listen to it and type them up from there. So we have a motion from Brendan to approve the meeting minutes with the clarification that Mr. Doan was Mr. Paul Doan. And do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Lynn. All in favor?
I have one question.
On the minutes? Mhm.
On page 2 here, question is conditions relative to Mr. Healy's item here about dental molding and so forth. addressing the brick veneer if water table is needed. What the devil does that mean?
So the water table was suggested because they already parged over the existing, so if they put new veneer on top of it, it's gonna build out the foundation even further from the undersheathing and from the siding. So
Okay.
it might be pronounced, so they might wanna put a water table to hide that. Because now the foundation is gonna be out further, 3/4 of an inch, depending on what product they choose. So the idea is if you had to add a water table, you could hide that detail, because you're bringing out the foundation another, like I said, 3/4 to 1.5 inches, depending on
Okay.
what application.
Okey-doke.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve the minutes as amended. All in favor?
Aye.
Any in opposition? Hearing none, motion carries. The next item on our agenda is the guideline book. So Rachel had asked me if this had been approved or not. And I'm not sure whether this is the version that you folks had worked on a couple of years ago, or whether it is
I can clarify.
please, Bob.
So the page in question, page 8, and the following section is not yet adopted. And that is true, just that section was not adopted. The rest of the document is adopted.
Was adopted, okay.
It's just the violation page, and, as far as any other things of setting penalties or anything like that.
Okay.
Although I believe the regular charter is that the building commissioner is the only one that actually sets penalties, but that's from memory.
Yeah, I believe under the code, he would have the authority to write up violations as exists. So page 8. So where did this page 8 come from, I guess would be my question.
I think it was part of the original, I think, this is before my time. even,
Understood, yep.
That there was still some questions about how this would work out, like the clerk certificate and stuff, that was unclear what a clerk certificate is. And, and I think they meant the clerk of the historic commission,
Yeah.
not the clerk of the town, which I know there was confusion about that. But I think it should probably be reviewed
Yeah,
and brought up
absolutely.
again next month, so
Okay,
maybe I'll recommend
Yep.
that.
yep. But we do think that the remainder of it was approved and in
Originally,
place.
Yes, yes,
Because I do see some of these effective dates here,
yeah,
and they seem to go back pretty far.
yeah. It should be a project to totally
Review and revamp.
And,
Yeah.
and particularly identifying newer materials and things that
Okay.
just make it clearer. But I don't know whether that's something the committee would undertake or that we would ask for possibly a grant to do that professionally.
So I would think that we would, to the extent that we have fairly decent guidelines already, right? I think we can probably see what's out there with the Cape Cod Commission, see what.
Well, isn't this what our former planner, didn't he give us a rough draft, or was that something different?
He was
Oh,
talking.
that was
He
the
was. There
original
was.
charter.
Yeah, he was looking back to that, as I
Not
recall.
this book.
I don't think this was. I don't think
No, I
it was
think
these
you're right.
guidelines.
No.
So would the board as a whole like to take these on and make some changes? Or do you think the bulk of them are fairly self-explanatory as they are?
I mean, I think it's worth a complete read-through by everybody,
I
Okay.
think so.
and to make notes
Yeah.
that we can bring up that
All right.
Yeah.
next
Should
meeting
we-
and
And there are some things in here that
Yeah.
are clearly typos.
Right,
that need to-
exactly.
There's references here to Salem's houses and
Right.
so forth, like it was
Right.
just a copy that somebody didn't catch. I personally have some issues with this one that we were gonna discuss or whatever tonight, that particular page.
Yeah, I do too.
I mean, the wording is strange.
Yeah.
To me, it's unclear as to what we really can do. I'd like to see some reference to if we're going to enact some sort of fine, like the gentleman on here before us. He was actually in violation, right?
So that is in the hands of the building commissioner. And the commissioner of buildings is the one that can issue fines. We have done it in the past.
Yeah.
When the North Street house was demolished, in absence of, we were told he was, we were told he was only gonna do X amount of work. The next thing we knew, the house was torn down. The building commissioner did reach out, and both zoning board of appeals and this, he got fined for both violations for the ZBA and from this board. So that does exist, so that does happen.
Yeah.
And Rachel is actually, our secretary on this board, is actually one of the zoning enforcement officers, so she can go out and inspect and write violations.
Right, but
And
she's
write,
off.
Well, is it
and
under-
issue cease and desist.
She's replaced.
Yeah, she's not our
Yeah, there's a new, I think.
That
She's-
just came out.
But she's
Right,
the
but
code
she's still,
enforcement.
she's
Yeah.
still in the building department, though.
Yeah.
She's the building-
Yeah,
That's
she's the
not
code
assigned to
enforcement
us.
officer,
Yes.
right.
Yes, correct.
So,
So should we compare or take a look at the Cape Cod Commission's stuff at the same time we're looking this over?
no, I would say start with this. This is enough heavy reading that
I would agree with that, yeah.
you'll be hard pressed to get through this in the month. So, in fact, I'd probably suggest we look at it from
But
March
is
as
this-
opposed to,
Is this commission in a position to actually assess fines?
right now, no.
No.
We don't have that authority under our,
But
under our
would you
bylaw.
anticipate that if this would be passed, we would have that authority?
no.
No, we'd probably
Not unless we write it in.
So the
No.
reference
We can
here to
recommend.
fines is simply
A recommendation.
a recommendation to the building department for them to assess the fine. That isn't.
Well, those would all be bylaw and code changes anyway, so those aren't anything that could get enacted without town meeting approval
Yeah.
or with the selectmen's approval, so,
And-
depending on whether it's a
and
bylaw,
down
whether
here
it's
it says
a
with the owner
regulation.
of the property in an historic district. In reality, would it be our expectation that this would apply to the full, or just within the historic district?
It would depend on what the violation is, so,
Well,
so there are differences between, if these are guidelines only for the
this-
historic
it's only
district,
for historic
Yeah.
districts.
so then
It's
this
not
would
for
only
anything
apply to
else.
the,
Yeah, okay,
to the district and not to notices of intent.
okay. Let's see here. Oh, well, again, okay, so we'll act on this next time, review it, have discussion about it next time, and then vote on it?
Yeah, I'd say,
There's some
I don't know how people feel about being ready for February, or if you want to push it till March.
No, let's do it for March, because we'll go through all the pages, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be better.
I think so.
Agreed.
All right, do we have a
Even in
name of our
this
new person?
Second
The new person.
shaded area there,
Kayla.
there's confusing language as presented here.
All right, so let's add that to our agenda we can do just a simple touch base in February, but I don't have any expectation that anybody will have gotten through almost 40 pages of very small print before then. And then we'll probably plan on having a deeper dive discussion in March.
That's great.
Old business, updates from members. Bob, would you like to update us on,
Yes,
on the,
the project for the MACRIS and the CPC funding to update the MACRIS database with historic. We did go out for the second time for the bid, and we have indeed gotten a response to the bid from Marquise Architecture out of Plymouth. And I did meet with her along with the assistant town manager, Megan, and to review. She had some good questions, and she came back with some suggestions, and she actually came back with 3 different options. And it's basically the deep dive, which is way more than what we had got for a grant. We got 34,000. Option 1 is for 101,000. That's for all the 253 properties. Then she had an option 2, which didn't include the registry lookup, which is still above our budget. Then option 3, which she recommended. I am not sure the option 3 really gives us much.
Okay.
But I have reached out to Sarah Korjeff at
Okay.
the commission to see if she'd review it and give her opinion, because
Okay.
the key is that we need to get these updated to the database, and if the
Right.
if the Massachusetts Society does not approve them, then there's no point.
right,
So I think we need to postpone the decision.
okay,
Do we need to go and ask for more money?
Well, you do that, we do that in another ask, instead of holding this one up.
Right.
So, and we'd already said that if we don't have enough money, we'll select which villages to start with, and then just go back next year and ask for more money.
and we did say that in our original application, I believe.
Yeah, yeah, because
So-
you just don't know what these come in at.
Bob, for a novice here, can you tell me what is the actual plan here for?
The okay, so are you familiar with MACRIS database? It's the state
Mile.
of properties. Yeah. And Harwich has, I forget how many, it's 100 or something on there, as well as sites. But we commissioned a study back in 2016, I think it was, again, CPC money, to identify the actual villages and the clusters within the villages of houses, that these houses belong to the original village in each one. And that weren't already on MACRIS, like Howard Center, a lot were already on MACRIS. So that was done, and they did the architectural description and identified dates, but it was never, there's a second part of the application to put it in the state database, is you need a historical narrative of the properties.
Excuse me, but is this the part that's on that 3-ring binder in the library, and so forth, the photographs and the
Yes,
houses?
that's correct,
Yeah,
that's
okay.
correct, that's
Okay,
correct. So
okay.
it's, to take that, which is just our document at this point, is not registered.
Yeah.
And we want to register those properties in the database so that we have identified, and actually Sarah Korjeff, who is the historic person at the commission, had pointed out to us that we were way behind other towns for getting our buildings into the database. And it'll help with preservation in the future and identify them in the architectural.
So, and do you anticipate that there will be other individuals coming forth with this? or-
No, this was the close
This
of
is
the
it.
bid, so it's the
It's
summer
already
bid.
closed, we had
Yeah.
one applicant.
Right,
Which is better than we had the last time,
right. The first time we had no applicants.
so.
Okay.
Any other questions regarding that?
Are we gonna update the list and add more houses to it?
Well, that's another thing we have to look at, because there are more, we did the
Lot more
addition.
houses.
We did the additional ones. Now we're into the 20s, and the teens that are now added, for the 100-year list, but those are certainly not part of it. We'll have to discuss whether we want to do that or not, or recommend to do it, but we need funding for that, of course. guess that's it for that update.
All right. Next update. You have materials that you
Oh,
would like
yes.
to show?
Can I do that? I brought some materials. Just for new members, you know, Lynn and Paul. I did this presentation probably 2 years ago, but
Thank you.
just to give you a sense of, because sometimes when I'm talking about materials, you know, the language has changed with simulated divided light and full divided light. So every manufacturer is calling them out differently. So I just wanted to give you a sense of what we're talking about when I mention that. So for example, this is an Anderson window. Over the years, this window seems to come in front of us a lot.
Is this the
And
400 that I keep hearing about?
400 series, and this is the applied grille on the outside and on the inside. I'm sorry, this is the inside, this is the outside. When you get involved in the 400 series, you have this extra flange here that bumps it out to accommodate this.
Okay.
On a higher grade window in Anderson or Marvin, the outside will look like this, nice and clean. So that's the difference when you make that step up to, but this is the, you know, tried and true for Cape Cod, the Anderson 400 series, and Marvin has a very comparable window as well. So you'll get that if you want the full divided light. The spacer bar is in the middle, so when you see through it, you don't see that gap. Some of the Harvey windows, or you'll see that there's no space bar, so you can see right through it. It's kind of odd. So, and then also, some windows that come in, this is a between the glass.
Yeah, that's what we have in our house.
Right. Probably not ideal for historic, but we have,
Well,
we really haven't allowed this too often. So I think, you know, whether we stick with that, but just so you know what it looks like. And then,
What,
If-
and how about the cost? What, are we just, are these,
I think it's like a 20% jump every time you jump. 200 series, 400 series, Woodwright, A series. And then there's E series, fully custom. That's just Anderson because I know it pretty well. Marvin has 3 different lines. If you don't do the applied grille, see how flat this is on the outside? It doesn't have that bumped out flange. But when you do the applied, you will, only on the 400. But when you step up to the Woodwrights, it gets cleaner. A series, E series as well. And then when you have applied grills on the inside, these just really click on, but they can be removed. That's probably why we don't want to ever have this as an option, because it can be removed. And then you have 1/1s. And they break. They made them better. They got springs now. They're really good now. But that was, just wanted to run that by you so you guys can understand. Like, I think between the glass is something we really haven't improved.
In the historic district, no, other than in the back.
Right in the back, but the guidelines on, that guidelines, if you read it, it doesn't even have these as an option because we've made some changes as far as accepting some of the newer windows for replacement. And that's going to be coming in front of us a lot. So applied grills, you know, between the glass, and then also you know, AZAC material. This is nothing new to anybody, but I left these out for a while in the weather. So, you know, that's what we're really approving, but if you don't paint, you see how it just collects dirt, so you really want to paint it. It's kind of, when you make these cuts, it gets a little coarse. That substrate really holds paint well. If you want to take a quick look, and that's what we're,
And
everything's gonna be.
we've been taking the fascia boards off and putting this up these ways.
So Paul, what we've been doing is we've been making sure that they are painted. If you're gonna use AZAC and not to do the Cortex screws with the caps, because you see the rings, then it screams plastic. But as long as they're Bondo filled and painted like regular material, it should be fine. And then historic sill, you know,
so
very,
on the question of his deck on the porch, what did you understand him to say?
so they're doing an AZAC material, which is a
Is that
PV.
that gray kind of?
Well, that's what I want to ask. Is it
Yeah.
going to be the slate gray that's very popular, or is it going to be mahogany? So he
Right.
did mention that he would be doing mahogany.
Okay.
We could have mentioned that in the conditions. I didn't see a need for it. So. And then the historic sill, they're making it in PVC, pretty solid. That goes under the window sill on the outside. So it's always nice to recommend the historic sill with the drip edge. And that concludes my presentation for
Well, thank you.
Windows 2024.
4. It's
25,
24
24.
already.
Crazy, isn't it?
It's 24 already.
Very good.
Well, it certainly makes sense.
But like
Thank
those-
you for
yeah.
doing that.
No problem.
I was slowly figuring all that out and imagining that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking it was, and it is.
I will say this, looking at the window that had the internal, didn't have the applied grills.
Right.
You still can't see between the panes really, but it doesn't divide the light.
Right, right. It's not a true divided light. Or simulated. It's really a simulated divided light. The spacer bar, now they're switching it to full divided light. I think it's just an advertising thing. But you'll hear SDL or FDL now in the descriptions, with whether it's Marvin or Anderson or Pella. So just but I think at a minimum, we really want to have applied grills. And all the companies make them. Even the 200 series make applied grills. So you can step it down and still get applied grills.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Any other questions for Brendan?
And then one last thing, when we make someone do it, if they're doing 6/6, usually the cost, to your question, is it is a 20% jump to the nicer windows, but it's also $20 to $30 per light, so it adds up pretty quickly. So
Yeah, and on the house, in Mr. Healy's house there, where he put in a different window from what Ted Hunt had. He put in a different size windows, right?
yeah, we approve
Kind
that.
of let that slide. But what's involved there? It actually, if we had said, no, we want it.
You can go to a manufacturer and they have custom lines. So Anderson, I believe, has their E series, and they can make whatever window you want.
So he went back and changed the,
He did. He's doing an arch window.
He did the one in the gable end, but he didn't do the main windows were small. I mean, you could tell when they went in that they didn't fill the
Oh yeah, they're smaller windows. Yeah,
original
yeah.
space.
That ship has sailed. Yeah, unfortunately.
So is that kind of too much nitpick?
So Mayor, could you expand on this? Maybe just even for Paul, the difference between the historic commission and district and
So-
commission, right? So
when it
two different
comes-
things when we talk. But
so when
Mary,
it comes to a notice of intent, which that is just a notice of intent, which they have to come in for demolition. Like for like, if he was replacing like for like windows, they wouldn't even have to come before us. So like for like roof, like for like windows, we're kind of out of the game.
Okay.
Is that in the historic district or
That is
across the board?
across the board.
Okay.
For like, you typically don't need to come before the board. The notice of intent for demolition it's a very broad bylaw that we make everybody come if they're removing one shingle, one door, one anything. But the only thing we have to hold over them is the 12-month demo delay. That's the maximum we can impose.
Right.
If they want to wait us out, they can wait us out for 12 months. And they often do. So what we try to do is try and get some concessions where we can with roof pitch and
brick
windows
veneer.
and brick veneers on the front.
Yeah.
And when that happens, then we at least can consider we have a little bit of a win, because we're not holding them up, and we're getting some concessions to get similar characteristics in the replacement building that existed in the original. One of the perfect examples I use all the time is, I think it was one of the buildings on Bank Street. I want to say it was a Cape, and we lost a little in scale, but it got redrafted, and it got made much more similar to the style of the building that was there originally. We lost a little bit in scale. I think the same thing has happened in the
Campgrounds.
in the campgrounds as well. That we have been successful in getting similar style, similar roof pitch, similar characteristics of the building, but we've lost to scale a little bit, and that's just really, I think, more of the nature of the code these days than anything else. You know, they need the higher scale and they need the higher height to make
the second floor work, but a lot of the local architects are coming to us with designs with all that in mind. So some homes in the campgrounds, we had to fix a couple of roof lines, and they were able to do that. But as the word spreads, I feel in the last couple of years that some architects are ready, and they're making the homes look exactly like the way they are. As far, I think there's one on 38 Ocean, and that's very similar to
close
what
as
was
they could
there.
get, right.
I mean, it's impossible to make that a year-round home unless you completely do it completely over, so it'll look like a new house.
Well,
But I think
what Jeff Handler is doing on Freeman Street,
Yeah.
that is exactly like it used to look.
yeah.
But my question is, obviously he did not come to us first. How do you get away with that?
It was missed
It
someplace.
was missed. Well,
I mean, and at the same time, if it was maybe it was an express permit,
What is
maybe
an
it was
express permit?
Express permit is really just for roof, siding, trim repair, and window replacement. It used to be $50, I don't know what the fee is, but it's not a full permit. So a full permit is completely different, and how you apply for it and the fees associated with it.
But if it was, I mean, it could have just been missed that it was an older house. It could have just been that whoever reviewed it thought it was like for like and didn't realize that there was as much going on. He could have done more than what he applied for too. I don't know.
yeah, it was my understanding that he only applied for an interior permit
Yeah,
Understood.
and
never got the express
And some
permit.
people don't apply for permits at all.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. So yeah, if it was an interior permit, yeah, obviously nobody would have stopped it because
No.
that's not our purview. So, you know, that's why when we see these things, the building department can go look at them. But we also we should let the building department do their job. So
But the
If-
building department would normally go and look and see that the
They would
permit
normally-
jives with what he's doing?
well, they would normally know that, first of all, they'd normally know that it was a historic building and we hadn't signed off on it yet, and they would send them to us
Yeah.
before a permit got issued. You know, they're not gonna catch everything when people are doing things, limited number of inspectors, but yes, if they're going to look, yes.
Yeah, you would think that there's a limited number of inspectors, but there's a limited number of permits too. I mean, it
I
would
think
be
it's a lot
easier-
more, I think there's a lot more permits than you
Well,
realize.
yeah, but I mean.
that was a record for a lot of towns
Yeah.
last year, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
It's a lot more permits than we even realize. So we had talked at one point about trying to get some inspections after the demo and before the regular permit was issued. I don't know what that means to the building department right now with their workload. But generally speaking, yes, they are. You know, if we see something that we know about or that we don't remember, then just give me a heads up and call the building department and ask the inspectors to look at it. And, you know, I just want to know about it so that if I get a phone call, I can
talk to it.
speak to it.
Yeah, so go to you first, and then
Yeah.
we can,
Yeah, simultaneous. Yeah, you don't have to come to me first, but just let me know that you reached out to the building department because you didn't remember, you know, siding on 28, you know,
yeah.
and then we'll go from there.
And
So,
to that point, Madam Chairman.
yes.
How do you want to be approached?
You can-
Email or phone? Do we have a contact?
I will give you my cell phone if you don't have it already. So, when we
Yeah,
close, I'll give you my cell phone.
Yeah, not right now. Yeah, don't want to put it on air.
And then, yeah, and you can always email me as well.
Okay.
Anything else that people would need to talk about tonight? Any
We've got the
updates?
thing with Link. Do we want to deal with that now?
Yes.
I happened to be with Link when this issue came up. As a matter of fact, I also happened to be at Town Hall the night where a couple of people coming to a meeting had fallen, and while the work was being done out in the parking lot to put in that crosswalk and so forth. So the net result was that the town realized they needed better lighting and so forth. So anyway, when I was talking with Link, he said, oh, there's something before the Historic Commission, can you give me a hand with this? So I did send you, I think Rachel gave me your email or something, but this is an attempt to sort of put everything in proper order, at least in terms of first, is there a design issue here that we might end up having a problem with? So rather than have the work all done in terms of designing the electrical layout and so forth for the parking lot, enhance lighting to provide better visibility for people that are coming to meetings at night and so forth. So Link had his folks look at four, which have been included here, four different styles, and he just wanted the commission to look at these and possibly just agree on, and then based upon that, he'll take that information to his engineering department and the electrical engineering that will be done for the actual preparation of the plan, which will come back to the commission. But in order to prepare the plan, it's easier for them to have an idea of what's sort of the acceptance. So the bottom line is that he gave four options were provided by the engineer that works for the electrical work in the town. And Link's feeling was, unless we have an objection, that the light with the highest lumens capability is preferred, and it also will be designed so that neighbors and so forth are not going to have some sort of visual interference because of things being overly lighted and so forth. So when you look at the details, there are three sort of similar historic-ish type of lamps, and the one with the largest lumens is this Valiant cutoff. So the bottom line, I guess, is that if there is an objection on the commission's part at this point, that we should say that this Valiant design format is not going to be objected to by the commission when the plan does formally come before us. So that's what he's trying to accomplish by this preliminary letter.
No, yeah. So we're talking about, in order, the second one.
Number two, yeah. Well, there's one called the Valiant Full Cutoff.
This one. Now, may I?
Please, Bob.
I don't care for these, and the reason why is you go to Dennisport, and they put this type in, and it's really doesn't look the light does not look that good. It's very garish, it's very even though it's supposed not to be modern looking, it looks very modern, the way it is. So I prefer the plain Valiant LED. It's only 1,000 lumens less.
Yeah.
So I would prefer to see
But it has the
something-
lens on it,
Yeah, that it doesn't look as ultra modern, it looks more
you
traditional.
have the LED square shining down on the top of the
Yeah.
other one, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're bright.
And then what?
They're just bright.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
light is
and
like.
I certainly don't mind a little difference. The more,
kinda
traditional
like
part.
these
I
ones.
I kind of like
Some of
those
those-
too.
I do
I
too.
really do
This is
too.
the
Looks-
only one Link really has objections to.
Oh.
He
Wanna
was
put
trying
those-
to avoid the situation where it's just a glow sort of look. But
The one that's in the parking lot
whatever we
already.
want to tell him is he's comfortable. He just doesn't want to have some glitch at the end of the process.
The one that's in the parking lot right now has this glass on it
Yeah,
already. So it would match.
yeah. And one
But
of
I
the
don't think
issues.
I don't think it's an LED
Those are
though.
pretty.
No, they're not. Well, they've actually put LED bulbs in to make
Have
it
they?
brighter.
But the any
Just
glass
recently.
is just so old that it's.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah.
These
Oh, it's
lamps
horrible out there.
don't last. No, I mean, I don't know what his plan is. The plan is there's not enough posts.
Right.
It's not.
Yeah,
that
they're gonna
right
put
there.
in, right, they're
So-
putting in
Many
more
more
lighting,
posts.
enhancing the whole.
So I understand that, but I'm also gonna say, I have seen on main streets, and I wanna say Hudson is one that did it very well. They have more historic posts, and they have a double post that comes off of every post.
That's
Every
nice.
post has a double light, and it gives you double the light. So I don't know why we're looking at singles. If there are doubles out there,
Mary's figured it out.
they could do the job without having to rewire the
Yeah,
whole.
that's a good idea.
That's right,
Um,
even what is it? Marston's Mills has those too.
The doubles.
Yeah.
The doubles.
Yeah, we're pretty.
I
Might be
don't,
worth
one
taking
doesn't,
back to them.
I mean, it might be a lumens, could be a lumens issue, right? I mean, maybe the two don't provide any more power than one.
No, the Hudson Main Street, they did an excellent job
You're
on
talking
the,
Hudson, New York?
I'm not talking Hudson, Massachusetts.
Hudson,
They have,
Massachusetts?
they have very nice light poles, and if I remember correctly, they are double, let me just try and think of a Google Map address.
Can we go back to this for a second, the information you provided us, Bob? Can we just go back to this for a second? Are we gonna go forward with this?
Oh, I'm gonna get opinion from, and then we can talk about it in more detail.
Okay.
Because I wanna get an idea of what we really get for our money.
Right. Well, because she had on her
I lied, there's a
Volunteer
single, those are
experience?
singles.
Yeah.
doing stuff like preservation language and stuff like that in the town of Belmont, she did some work.
There we go. No,
I know we're trying to
Hudson's are
update some
singles,
of our
I
stuff, I
lied.
didn't know if it was worth it to
these are pretty.
You have to put
pick
it
her
out to
brain.
bid.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, you just
Yeah.
can't say, oh.
can't pick her brain over.
Oh, no, you can.
Yeah,
No, if she,
You know, as we've talked
she'll
about-
give you some advice and some direction, but, oh, absolutely. And that's what she did with us on this. She
Yeah.
came in and said,
well, not me
"Richard, I don't
personally, I'm
know
just
why."
thinking
No, I know what you
for,
mean.
we've
No,
talked about
that's-
updating
Maybe
stuff,
the other
yeah.
ones will look
The-
authentic
Yeah,
or
yeah,
more
yeah.
historic or whatever.
Well, the issue being is that you'll see, that's the light. It's a flat.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, There's no bulb here.
Right.
It just, and you see all the little dots, the LEDs. Actually, it looks like it comes with a decorative piece.
You, actually, that one does have
Yeah,
an
this is-
inside
it
thing.
has a decorative
Yeah,
piece.
You could put that in. I don't know how it would look.
I don't know how it would look either, but I think you're right about this frosted glass or whatever it is.
You get less glare, because the ones without that frosted glass, you tend to get some.
They're almost
sharp
blinding.
glare.
They're almost blinding. It's,
They can be.
it's like,
Yeah, the Dennisport ones are very blinding. Actually, they're not.
Oh, no, Marston's Mills is just one, but it is up and over and hangs down.
Where
The
are we?
bulb.
Did you provide these? Did you provide these?
No,
Oh.
linked it.
Linked it.
Oh,
I'm trying to find a street view.
yeah.
Can't find a street view anyplace. Where did I see the doubles? I would have sworn they were Hudson.
We could ask Link just to look at, did he say why?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did he say why he didn't like the park light? It was too much light?
I think I think he was looking for something that looked more, I think his fear was that these aren't historic enough.
Oh, no, they're very historic.
These are.
Yeah.
Yeah, these
Yeah.
are awesome.
I think
Truly
that was,
awesome. And particularly for
but-
municipal things.
there was a, let me just see here, I think there was the other one was less, these were less, lumens are less efficient or something, you felt.
Well, that too, right, because they don't even mention
Yeah.
the total lumens.
Yeah, I think that was,
You know, and unfortunately with all these, they're all plastic globes now.
yeah.
And within 10 years, they're
They
all
crack the
yellow.
hole, right.
Yellow, the paint comes off the post. It's not like the old cast iron.
Okay, so why don't we tell Link to put on his staff a gas lamp lighter? And let the guy come by every night and light the gas lamp.
There you go.
But they weren't gas in Harwich, they were oil lamps, kerosene lamps.
Really?
Wow.
Bob knows everything.
Bob does.
Bob knows all.
So do we,
I need to tell him something, because
Well-
they're trying to make this plan, there's
I know.
people suing the town.
Yeah. I mean, my opinion is that we say, of the ones he submitted, only the Valiant LED plane. But could he research a two-headed lamppost? Because one of the things you do with it is these tend to be very bright glary, but if you have two,
You
you
can
can
look-
cut
tone
it
it
back a
down.
little bit, and they look better.
And because there's two of them, they throw more light.
Yeah.
I still like
And
these.
you want it
I know, I do
in the
too.
same
I do
kind
too.
of look, or more like the open bulb look?
When you say open bulb.
Well, I
No.
mean, the one with the bulb on top. Two of those, I mean, that type of design, or do you mean something?
Not
So-
the park ones. All right, I call these the park ones because they're
The
central.
park, right.
So Bob's either saying this one, just the LED, but is there a possibility that there are double lanterns, that the posts have double lanterns?
But my question is, what kind of lantern? That style lantern, or the other one?
I'd prefer these myself, to be honest.
You
And
can probably get them
how
on the
about
double.
if we ask on the one with the lantern enclosure, if
I
you
mean,
put
so
in
this is the other
insert?
problem too, like, we don't know what the costs are, they've gotta go through procurement, we don't,
I mean, I think he needs to come with maybe a couple proposals.
well,
Yeah.
he has to come before us, because it's in the historic district,
Right.
and the town has to comply with
Yeah, he's-
with the certificate of compliance like everybody else
Well,
does.
he's coming
So-
back, but
Yeah, I
in
know.
order to have the guy design the plan to bring to us, that's what he's trying
Well,
to
is he saying
offset.
that the design changes based on the lamp? I don't think so. I think he just wants to
that I
wrap
don't
it, he just
know.
wants
I'm
to
not
wrap
an
it up so
electrical
he gets
engineer.
just one
But-
price.
But there is this one with the open,
Yeah. That doesn't,
how, what about
That's
this with the
drastic.
insert?
maybe, I'd like to see it, a picture of it.
Yeah.
In working, I'm sure their website says the company, right? We can
Something
look
like
them up
this,
on the
Bob?
website.
These are nice.
No.
Those are two Disney World.
Which ones?
I agree.
I just Googled double.
No. Actually, not the hanging type that they're.
No, you'd like the two posts that come up that have
It is
it.
a triple.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, you know,
Getting
some, they
something-
look, some of those look really bad though.
Okay,
So we haven't really accomplished much.
Oh, wait a minute.
I'll,
I think we have.
I'll report. I'll make up a report.
That,
Whoops.
that's okay. A double acorn
Yeah.
street light.
If he doesn't like the other, he really like that. Oh, I don't know, is it because of the output that he didn't like that? You know, the tops are not transparent, so
Right.
the light doesn't go up in the sky, it still
Right.
stays low.
2 times selectable LED. They're not cheap.
What you looking at?
Yeah, what is going
Oh,
on?
yeah, that's pretty good.
They're
Pretty
looking
expensive.
at this, but doubled.
Oh, the dove.
Oh, that's nice.
Those are awesome. You like those?
So I do.
I think they're great.
They're not
There you
cheap,
go.
but
Those are nice.
Double acorn. And so it's not a
Is
glass.
there a plan for putting lights?
Is this
This
company?
one?
Is that, I mean, what's
Not,
the-
not
is
at
there
this
something on
point,
there?
Paul probably.
LBS lighting. This says LBS lighting.
I
I
know
don't
the
know.
next
I
thing
think they all carry it. It might be all the same kind of.
is
Double
to do
acorn.
something with the exchange part. Because that needs some lamps like this
Okay,
Yeah.
and fix
I'll
up.
tell them that's the view.
Yeah, and the posts are aluminum, and the lens is a polycarbonate.
I mean, if he wants to come back, he can always come back too. I mean, like, we can meet. I can't meet next week, but I can. So, I'm gonna send this to the two of you because you're on my text messages. Brendan. Bob, I know you're here.
I have
somewhere.
one other matter, Madam Chairman, and I hinted at it, I guess, I think I did last month. And that is to pursue with a little vigor here, the possibility of the Historic Commission annually giving a preservation award.
Yeah, we talked about that.
We've talked about it.
Yeah.
Just
And
have it off the ground.
when I talked to, I think it was Bob or something, he said, well, the issue is in the past, it's been money. But I think it gives us, and
That's a possibility.
I'm certainly prepared to,
It's not a money issue.
no,
No, it's just getting together and coming up with
well, then.
a plan.
Well, then,
There's a great project on Chatham Road where they're restoring that building. And it looks like they're doing an amazing job.
Yeah,
I mean,
You know, I
yeah.
mean, it's a lot of work. I did that exact same renovation.
I'm just going through and
Yeah, I know.
finding.
It's a lot to do.
These to me are very outside City Hall.
Yes, yeah.
And we thought about a cool plaque or something.
yes,
The
exactly.
brass
And
plaque.
it's an
You know what the
incentive,
problem with
it's,
these are?
you
They put
can
them too close
work
together
with
to save
people
Mhm.
like the
Right.
gentleman
In the
that
old
was in
days,
here
they were
before.
They were
Davis
wider,
Lane.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I think,
That's what they do.
I think with a
No.
little effort,
You
which
have
I'm not giving up
I
on,
know, I agree.
but if you had, people
That's very
like that, and
craftsy.
when you drive through Chatham, the old town, section of Chatham, down near the light and so forth, people display that preservation award in
That's not bad.
2016 or 2018.
That's
They
interesting.
like it
That's
on their
very
house.
good.
It shows that I kind of
Yeah, it's too Victorian.
made an extra effort, and I've been rewarded by the town acknowledging it. And it's a $50 stupid plaque on the molding of the front door or something, but we should do that. I think it gives us a scintilla of extra value and a little thing we can offer. It shows we respect people who make a concerted effort to do the proper thing rather than the easy thing.
Mhm.
So
Well, we've certainly talked about it in the past. I think if we're going to do it, if we want to go forward with it, we need to sit down and come up with some criteria, deadlines, when the project has to be completed by, whether it's somebody that had to have come before the commission or whether it's just a project around town.
So where would we get like a list of the building department or just drive around town?
You know, I would think it's come,
Usually it's people that have come before us. I mean, that's one of the intents.
Yeah, you can always do a new one and an old one each year. So you can do two
Someone's
every
been
year, pick one
restoring one on
that's
Bank
someone
Street
already did,
forever, where the,
and then a new one that's in progress.
Right.
So you do
I like that.
two a year.
Actually, we did look at this, and a lot of towns you have to apply for.
oh, you're right, yeah.
Because that probably pays for the award, yeah.
probably,
Yeah.
paying for the plaque.
The
Yeah,
plaque, yeah.
People, apply for it.
So
I'm not
you
sure we
remember
want
we
to do
didn't have
that.
any money to do it?
I
No,
don't
but
want
but we have administrative money, which we can use for something like
I
that.
would think so.
Yeah.
We can see how much we have.
I will willingly pay for the plaques. I'll give the town money to do that. That's not gonna be the reason we don't do it. The reason we don't do it is because it's the same argument years ago, not to tell more stories, but in Eastwood Ho, I'm the longest serving member down there, tenure-wise, right? So And if we're back in the 1970s, I was on the Board of Governors at the time, and I said, we should name the holes. All of the great golf courses in America historically have names on the holes, and they tell a story, which is inviting to guests. Why is this named Hotel? Or why is this named Blimp? Or what is a... It's a fascinating thing. So I go before the Board of Governors, and they say, oh, that's kind of gimmicky. And furthermore, if they had named the holes in 1921 when the course was designed, fine. But here it is 1970, and I'm thinking to myself, now, if I had been successful in getting that done, there's nobody in the golf course that precedes, and I was there since 1962, right? So there's nobody there that's even between me and 1970. And no one would know that's playing today that these
That it
names
happened
weren't
in-
put on in 1970 or in 1921, right? So it's a non-issue. The same thing we talk about, well, we've talked about this in the past. Well, I'm not getting any younger, so I've got to move on these things in the time I've got left. And I'm telling you, doing something like that, recognizing accomplishment, people like and appreciate and enjoy, and it gives us a little bit of exposure. And I can tell you, those people in Chatham love it. It's so. I don't want a copy because Chatham does it. Just the reverse. I want to have our own deal, but.
Well, let's agenda it for the next meeting, and we'll talk about what we want for criteria.
Okay.
And we'll see what we have for monies to be able to, whether we have monies to pay for a plaque. So that you don't have to pay for the
Yeah.
plaques out of pocket.
But I was even going to have somebody and I stopped the other day when I was down there. So she went up, and a friend of ours is in one of these houses that has the Preservation Award for 2019 or something. And theirs is a metal plaque, like the Historical Society, dating the house. They're cast plates. But, I mean, we don't need to go to that extent, or maybe we want to. But theirs happened to be metal. I assumed it was wood, but when I went up and checked, yeah, it was metal.
Bronze, yeah.
Yeah, bronze. Anyway, okay, enough said.
Great.
I'll talk to Link.
Anything else, folks? Entertain a motion to adjourn?
I so moved.
What about?
What did I miss?
In here, there's something about the library.
What did I miss?
Oh, we did miss a couple of things. So we have the Harwich
I did miss.
Library National Register.
Historic places
Oh, the
evaluation.
library.
Do I not have it? Why do I not?
Are we supposed to act on that?
Got it.
Or just make a recommendation and support it?
Get on there, all right?
Do I not have it?
It's from the Commonwealth of Mass. It went to Patricia Cook.
I mixed everything together.
It's right here.
Yeah.
There you go.
On the bottom. Thanks, Bob. Oh, it's old. Okay, so let me read it in for the record. It's addressed to Patricia Cook at the Harwich Port Library Association. And it says, at the request of the Harwich Port Library Association staff at Mass Historic, have evaluated the Harwich Port Library, 49 Bank Street, to see whether, in their opinion, it meets the criteria for listing in the National Register of Historic Places. I am pleased to tell you that it is our opinion that the property retains the integrity, location, design, settings, materials, workmanship, feeling, and association, and is eligible for listing in the National Register. The property fulfills Natural Register criteria A and C, at the local level, with the area of significance being social history and architecture. Period of significance would be 1925, the date of the library's construction, unless a longer period of significance associated with at least one area of significance is demonstrated. It was designed by Boston architect Walter Trowbridge Littlefield. The Harwich Port Library is a purpose-built library building constructed as two capes connected by a single-story hyphen. The library occupies the easternmost 1.5-story building, while the community room comprises an open performance space and dressing room is at the rear. The library's origin dates to 1920 with a gift of about 500 books from a summer resident, Anne T. Van Buren. The collection moved between various buildings in the Harwich Port community and quickly grew to several thousand volumes. In 1923, the nonprofit Harwich Port Library Association was founded to establish a permanent home for the growing collection. The association has owned and operated the library ever since. The construction of the library building was a community effort with funding and the lot itself donated by local and summer residents. The Harwich Port Library retains integrity of its exterior and interior spaces. A few major alterations include the removal of a kitchen in the annex and the installation of an exterior ramp and handrail. Under Criterion A, in the area of social history, the library is significant for its associations with the free public library movement of the 19th and early 20th century. The establishment, funding, construction, and operation of the library was the culmination of a community effort by local and summer residents of Harwich Port to permanently house the library's collection, emblematic of a typical development pattern for local libraries during this period. Under Criterion C, in the area of architecture, the library is significant for embodying distinctive characteristics of early 20th century colonial revival style architecture. Designed as two connected capes, it is a highly intact example of a historic domestic building type adapted to a public community purpose. A National Register nomination must place the library in a local context related to public libraries in Harwich, and to the context of the free public library movement, relating it to broader trends and patterns of how small community village libraries were established and operated during this period. This may include elaborating on the children's room, which, as the inventory claims, was an unusually early feature in a library of this period. A local context for institutional architectural, especially the colonial revival, must also be developed to establish the building's significance under Criterion C. Littlefield's career and his other designs should also be expanded upon, as well as his personal connection to Harwich. With this eligibility opinion, the preparation of a National Register nomination may now commence. MHC strongly recommends that due to the highly technical nature of the National Register program, the Harwich Port Library Association work with a preservation consultant experienced with National Register requirements and the nomination process in Massachusetts. Because of the strong interest in the program across the state, the time frame for listing a completed nomination generally is 2 years from receipt of first draft. Ben Haley, who's the National Register person. I think that's wonderful that they're seeking that. I don't know what they would need from us, other than perhaps a letter in support when they get ready to do their application, but I would suggest that through this meeting, we can tell them when they're ready for something, we'd be happy to entertain it. I don't know that they would need anything at this point, do you?
No.
And then the other item is, we got a card about grant programs. MHC is pleased to announce round 30 of the Mass Preservation Project Fund grant program. It is a state-funded 50% reimbursable matching grant established in 1984 to support the preservation of properties, landscapes, and sites listed in the State Register of Historic Places. Applicants must be a municipality or nonprofit organization. Please note that the grant disbursement is subject to reauthorization of the capital accounts and the availability of sufficient allocated funds. Round 30 application submission deadline is March 15th, with awards on June 12th. I don't know that we are in a position to actually request anything in this round if it is, for State Register of Historic Places. It would be, I would wonder if the Historic Society or actually if the town would actually apply for Brooks Academy Museum to get some matching funds, because they certainly have CPC funds that could act as matching on it, but I don't think there's anything for us on that either. Did I miss anything else?
No, that was it.
Thanks, Julie.
You're welcome.
Then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made by Bob, seconded by Lynn. All those in favor? Any in opposition? Hearing none, we are adjourned.